So the guy wanted to know if I had a lighter. I never carry a lighter, and I never carried cigarettes with me when I was out because, hey, that's a good way to not be able to keep your stuff. This is part two of my walk. I'm CJ Miller. Across the Red River is beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. They're doing some makeover on the boardwalk over there. So, you know, progress is slow. I tell you, it's fast when it's time to shut it down. It's slow to start it back up though. But yeah, hopefully when I get back over to my apartment, that dog's not going to be barking around or whatever. It's another fountain. They kind of look like the fountain behind me. They look like fire almost when you come a little away and you see the LED lights. Yeah, I want to do some photos while I'm on the trip. I'm going to be in a couple of places, and if I can find some inspiration from what I'm seeing. I quit smoking for my health, but also at a time when I want to be creative. So I hope that my cigarette cessation does not get in the way of my. I hope it doesn't make me irritable, and I hope it doesn't. I hope I don't parlay that as an excuse to prevent me from doing what I want to do. But yeah, I was talking about I wanted to do the Amazon self-publishing because writers really don't make a lot of money. It's just like you know, you can, but really, it's a limited profession. It's not like working in a restaurant or a hotel or something like that, or a bar where there's businesses everywhere. It's not like that, you know, really. So, and even if you do start making a living as a working actor or whatever, your limelight is very brief, a few years at best, unless you are mega superstar and bankable and get really invested. But you know, if you're high on that pedestal, you know, one wobbly step and you're gone, you know. So you better have a lot of comebacks in you if you're going to make a, you know, and produce. You better take your money and instead of blowing it, you better start producing your own stuff, you know. But writing, I don't think people really get to do that as their primary job. You know, people don't really get into reading magazines and newspapers anymore and everything. It's so much so that publications really don't take submissions. You know, really don't. I would have loved to have lived in the day when I could submit to Weird Tales magazine or something. You know, the whole sci-fi gothic horror short story, I loved it. Fell in love with it when I started reading Edgar Allan Poe and Stephen King when I was in middle school, and H.P. Lovecraft, you know, a great guy, great writer, you know, not a great guy, but his writing was twisted because he had some character flaws that I do not wish to emulate, you know. I'm not a bigoted xenophobe, you know, but that came out in H.P. Lovecraft in a way that I don't think is true of Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe predates Lovecraft, and he had you know, some wild opioid fevered fantasies that he put down, and you know, but there again, it's like some paranoia comes through and everything like that. You know, that's what you get with drugs. You get that paranoia. So I try to stay away from that. Even the lingering paranoia in my clean years, you know, but anyway, yeah, what was I thinking? Edgar Allan Poe, I don't think he was like a poor character for his times per se, but I think that there was he had like a rivalry with some other riders, and sometimes they would like slander each other's character behind the scenes to, it was very competitive. It's you know, and so yeah. Stephen King wrote also as Richard Bachman. He was so prolific. His wife, Tabitha King, was a novelist. Both of his sons are novelists. So it's like, and everybody wants to do what their work, So it's not like I really think in the way things are going now. I don't think that I'm going to be that great writer. So Amazon, people can self-publish there, and whatever. I don't even, it's cool. These things have been building up. I just wanted to get them out, these stories, and so it's time, that I'm settled down enough, and yeah. So. I wanted to come back and I wanted to finish that sentiment because I accidentally closed out my camera when the guy asked me for a light, and I'm not one to ignore people, but I thought I recognized him, and I did want to go over and say hello, but yeah, he turned out not to be someone I know. He was just someone calling for a light. And as we get up here, that by the time I spent some time on the river, I'm going to see, by now, things are starting to wind down. It's about 3:30 in the morning. So, guy on an e-bicycle. But I'm also not stupid. No traffic. I do not cross against the light at this particular corner this time of night because there are police and they will give you a ticket. I'm going to think that it says walk because there's no red light. It's go. And there was a little stoplight, now there's not. Light's just out, and then I was able to go, so that's fine. But they have food trucks out. If I want to come down here and have food truck in the middle of the night, that's kind of cool. Over there, I don't. I'm gonna go home, eat leftover chicken and some rice. Yeah, I think it's the Raymond James building on the side of it. Or something, I think. Or is it the Baird's Tower? I don't know. One of them has, an emblem of the Shreveport City Police. So, I was like right on the side of it. It's like, oh wow, is that like a little station that they're using down here? Then the other station on the other side or whatever. So, I don't know. Maybe. When the casinos came, in order to be competitive, the city ordinances from closing at 2 p.m. were lifted to be for a fair. If you're down here and the casinos were affecting your business in this zone down here, then you could stay open all night at the casinos or whatever, Soon that novelty wore off, and most people started to go home at 2 or 3 a.m. like they used to do anyway. So, but, in Dallas, I was in Dallas, and, the bars were closing at 2 p.m. in Dallas. I was like, really? I came here to not really party, but to vacation and watch other people party. Y'all are not, partying vicariously. I guess. But no, it's fine. But we did love Cedar Springs. I haven't been there in a while. I call it Cedar Springs. It's really Oakwood or Oak Lawn, Oak something. I'll be back. It's my nearest big metro, so I will be back there, but not till after this cruise I'm taking, and then potentially the one in February, unless someone I meet up with just wants to take a quick trip for a weekend or something like that. But I'm not going to spend mega money. And then I really want to focus on, in the upcoming year, you always think about resolutions and everything, and I want to think about, yes, enjoying myself and having a good time, but I want to do it a little low key, and I kind of want to work on nest egging a little bit. Do you know? I'm good. I'm comfortable. I'm taken care of right now. But there should be a little bit of nest egging in case, if it's at all possible. Anybody should be able to maintain their particular status for a good 6 months to a year, depending upon where you are. There should be enough in reserve to keep you floating in times of transition, because we're all gonna have them. So think about that. And that's really a reminder of myself. I'm talking to my reflection in the phone, my my image, telling myself, hey, remember that, you. Because finances, like everything else, they will come and go. They will spin like the proverbial wheel of fortune, which is not really a proverb, but it's real. That happens. We have times of financial increase and financial decrease. That's it, and everybody goes through that. The consequences of those ups and downs may vary differently from personal perspective, but yeah. Okay. See, let me show you. Huddy is pointing me the way home. I want to avoid those dogs. I didn't see them, I just heard them. I really did think I was hearing them from the distance. And so I'm going to go back up. I think I'm going to go down Caddo Street, cross over to Caddo Street, and go up that way. If there are any wild dogs, I will avoid them on Milam Street. Because there is a family, and they let their dogs kind of run loose in that neighborhood over there behind the cemetery. That is why I got up here in the first place. But hey, look at all the calories I'm burning. Oh, and this backpack is like pretty damn full too. I keep all the gym stuff. I'm wearing some of the gym stuff right now. And yay. Gotta take care of myself. Gotta burn calories. If I don't burn the calories are gonna burn me. And want to get that fat to muscle ratio in check. Yay. Could I go stand under that thing and like do the whole like Marilyn Monroe thing, except maybe like in a dressing gown or something. I don't do like drag, but like a hospital gown. like one of those flimsy hospital gowns that's open in the back anyway, and they sometimes give you one to put in front and one to put in back. And then go stand there. It could be like a big spoof of like someone escaping the asylum. I'd be like, zany, loony thing. My mind is not always correct. But you gotta have funny, good humor with it too. So anyway, gotta have a sense of humor. Um, People should not be targeted, abused, even in mass. Even in mosques. Taking, like just a group of people. They shouldn't be stereotyped and put down upon and everything like that. Especially in a mean-spirited sort of way. But, or even individuals shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. Yeah, you got to make sure that whomever is the subject of the joke or whatever, you got to let them in on the joke. They got to be a part of the joke. They got to be with it. They got to be laughing. They got to, you know what I mean? It's got to be good-natured, and it's got to be out of humanitarian love. It can't be out of anger. It can't be out of bullying. It can't be out of, and that's what the problem with bullying is. We don't tell people how to have a good time, how to have fun, without making somebody else the target, the social, mark of whatever. So, and I've taken my turns, being the mark and being the bully. Mostly the mark. But it's like got one more street over. Yeah, whatever, I think I'm okay. Oh, I used to hang out down here in the early 90s. Sometimes I was under 21. Sometimes I could still sneak into some of the clubs. Sometimes I couldn't. And when you couldn't, then there's a parking lot down here, and it's right across from the YMCA, that people used to come and hang out and drink, and it was whatever. And then you kind of scattered if the police came around, which they really didn't. And this was the side of the old federal building. This is the side of the old federal building. They did strip it down, and they are building new stuff. I've seen artist renderings of what it's supposed to look like. I've seen artist renderings of what my apartments are supposed to look like where I live. There's a vague resemblance. So let's see how, if the budget is going to hold up for that creativity. There's supposed to be a ledge kind of going down like 2 floors here, and a ledge going down 2 floors there, and look very far out, very modern, ultra modern, almost like the Jetsons modern. It's probably one of the most advanced looking structures. Did they have to change that for some of the other coding things that were going to happen? I don't know. I think it would have been neat. I hope they can leave some of that stuff in there. The artist rendering of what's going to be the new state building in Shreveport, Louisiana. I hope it'll look like it's what it's supposed to look like. I had an associate, I guess I still do, whatever, he used to get like, why aren't they doing anything? And I was like, well, these things, they do it in phases, and they approve. They can't really move forward until they're getting a paycheck, until they have a session and they vote to clear the budget. So yeah, and I can't tell if it's me or if that street sign is slightly dangly. I don't think it's me. I think it's lower, and I think it's something. doesn't look like it's been hit or anything like that. It's just, let's see. There's no traffic. I'll do it. This is a one-way street anyway. I would see them coming. See it? It's like, yeah, you know. It's not like, and I'm walking through this little arc of trees that I've painted in my mind. I didn't realize that the very first painting that I did, that I ended up giving away as part of a collection when I moved. I ended up gifting it to some people so they could have some art. They were new in their apartment and they liked it, and you know, easily at the time that I painted them would have been worth $85 locally. I mean, the work was good, you know, like I'm not going to bullshit you and tell you that it was good when it wasn't. It was good work. So yeah, when I was moving from the Fairmont, I was moving over here, I had an excess of art. Some of it I painted, some of it was gifted, and I kept the what I liked the best. And some of them I felt like I could pass along and share. And started out being just a few pieces, but there were some guys hanging out in front of the Fairmont building, and oh my God, I was like, you know what? If you really are enjoying it, I love, more than I enjoy selling a piece of art, when I get a chance to sell a piece of art, which is not too often anymore because I don't have that thousands of followers on my Facebook. Okay. But what I get is when I get ready to sell a piece of art, and I will sell anything hanging on my walls or anything that's in my book, even really. And when I sell the book, there's going to be prints of my art, and that's the only time I've ever sold a print of my art. I only ever really sell originals, you know, and normally I'll sell them and don't make prints. There's a caveat that I give people: hey, if I go back in my records and I want to use my work in a printed work, I can do that. But other than that, I'm not gonna replicate or, you know, paint a duplicate or anything like that. It's a one of a kind, you know, original, and anything, you know, that if I include it in my book or something, it's really just, you know, and there's most of what's going to be in the book is my original stuff, you know, and so this Samstown light right there, still, when I get to my building, there's going to be one of the windows that Samstown reflects in one of the windows all the way down to this end of downtown. It's like, and I found that really surreal. Like, oh my God, there's a den of money looming over and casting its presence over everything, you know. So, but they have people living in the apartments now, so I don't know if their lights are on and stuff. I wonder if they know that. Hey, this casino reflects on your window. You go maybe tell them to turn that shit off, you know. But I love what's going on. I shouldn't be peeking, but this is a public part of the lobby or something like that. We don't have that in our building. So we have places that we can do community stuff in, but I don't know. It's supposed to be a computer lab that people can use if they need to do anything, like, you know, there's supposed to be all sorts of perks with living here. The apartments are nice, you know, they are what you make them, but some of the perks that we're supposed to have, or some of the communities shared, it's a lot more limited than what was, you know, I don't know. But um, so one thing that's kind of neat is that living here, you would have a modem is supplied to the apartment. Each apartment has its own modem, so you don't have to rent a modem from your internet company, your cable modem. You don't have to rent that, uh, and that's nice, huh? And I was even thinking of seeing if I could take the modem and move it into, if there's cable installation, uh, and the Ethernet. That's going to be my project, to find out if I can move the modem from the closet out, because to do that would be, I would be able to attach Ethernet and have like super stupid fast internet. you know because I get pretty good. I get like 100 to 120 gigabytes or gigabit, whatever, gigabytes per second, whatever what DPS, whatever, per second. you know uh, so, and that's pretty fast compared to and then of course sometimes up and sometimes down, depending on internet traffic. But a straight connection to a computer or my laptop via Ethernet would really be fast. Or, to my big screen TV. God forbid I should wait 3 seconds for my program to load up if I'm streaming. That 3 to 4 seconds can be like, devastatingly long. That's how spoiled we've gotten, right? When I was a little kid, sometimes we'd have to go outside. We lived in a trailer, and across this lot from us in Amelia was the White House. The same lot, but and so we shared the same antenna though. So the large stand-up antenna with big, huge rakes off the side of it, monstrous looking. And what we would do was we would have to go out there and turn the pole to tune in and get the signal coming to the TV, because we didn't quite have cable when we first moved there. I don't know if it was available or we just didn't have it, and for a little bit, and then later we did. Obviously, the cable company that we went to pay the cable bill was located inside of a trailer. That's how small this town was, Amelia, Louisiana. And then we used to go swim in this shore in Patterson, Louisiana, either a lake or a beach or something like that. And I don't know if that beach is there anymore. I think, erosion and everything like that has kind of come in a little bit. I don't know. But, okay. But we used to always say we're going to go to the beach in Patterson, Louisiana. Or Patterson Beach or whatever. I don't know. But okay. I even once had like an argument, a straightforward, not argument, but a little debate about geography of that area of Louisiana. It's like, no, we used to say we were going to go to Patterson Beach, damn it. Had to have been in Patterson. There's no Patterson Beach, is what he would tell me. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe they renamed it. Maybe he wrote it. That is something that happens along our Gulf Shore. We lose wetland more and more each year. And they try to preserve it. They want to preserve it. There's funding where you can donate and everything. I don't know what can be done about shoring up the inevitability of, damage. And the more of that gets damaged, the less protection there is away from the civilization that lives inland from the swamps. So, maybe in another 30 years, I'll be living on beachfront property in Shreveport because everything will have eroded. I don't know. I am home. I'm going to de-sweat. That should be a thing. Like de-grease or de-grime or whatever. I'm going to de-sweat. Love and light. God bless. Bye.